So the New York Times decided to highlight Hillary Clinton's general election pivot to the right, and they portrayed her as a lovely ally of Republicans just waiting to make a deal. So they say the following: should she win the presidency, Hillary Clinton would quickly try to find common ground with Republicans on an immigration overhaul and infrastructure spending, risking the wrath of liberals who would like nothing more than to twist the knife in a wounded opposition party. In her first 100 days, she would also tap women to make up half of her cabinet in hopes of bringing a new tone and collaborative sensibility to Washington, while also looking past Wall Street to places like Silicon Valley for talent, perhaps wooing Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook and maybe asking Tim Cook from Apple to become the first openly gay cabinet secretary. Okay, let's pause here. Already this is maddening. So it wouldn't be a change if Hillary Clinton decided to reach out to Republicans and meet them halfway and kind of agree with them on a lot of stuff. That would be exactly like President Obama, and that would be the number one thing that progressives and liberals in the Democratic base do not like about President Obama. So they make it seem like it's always this fresh new idea like, ooh, a Democrat who runs to the right. A pro-corporatist, center-right, establishment shill Democrat. How original! No, that's the opposite. That's exactly what we're used to, and that's exactly what we don't like. But they put this positive spin on it, too. Look, I told you she was going to do the classic mistake, which is she thinks it's the 1990s, and she's going to run to the right because in the general election, the conventional wisdom is the Democrat runs to the right. And that's not the mood of the country right now. That's not how she's going to get more votes. She would need to stay left and run further left if she really wanted to pick up Bernie Sanders' votes, about 50% of them. 50% of the people who voted for Bernie are like, I really have no interest in Hillary. Left independents, millennials, these are all people who really don't like Hillary. Instead of trying to get them, who she has the better shot of getting, what does she do? Runs to the right to try to get the phantom support from the Republican base. Well, guess what? The only Republicans who like Hillary are establishment Republicans. So they frame it like, oh, what a brilliant new idea. No, it's not. It's a tired, old, stale idea, and it's a horrible way to try to move the country forward because, indeed, you're not moving the country forward. You're abandoning the progressive policy positions and principles that you promised all along you had against Bernie Sanders in the primary when you needed to say those things to get to the next step. So a general election pivot is just going back on everything you said in the primary. So in other words, it's lying, it's switching your position, it's going further right, and it's maddening and maddeningly stupid. And then also, what did I tell you guys? Going to run a PC campaign. What's that? Running a PC campaign. So she's saying, well, with me, what you'll get is half women in the cabinet and maybe the first openly gay cabinet secretary. Yay! Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, those are steps in the right direction, but it matters which women you pick. And I don't trust Hillary Clinton's judgment. She's not going to pick actual big-time progressive liberal women. She's going to pick center-right corporatist women like herself. So that's not something to cheer by default. It's not, by definition, any cabinet that has half women in it is good. What if it's a cabinet with Carly Fiorina and Sarah Palin and a bunch of right-wing women? Then everybody would understand, well, that's a silly thing to be in favor of just because they have vaginas. But when it's Hillary Clinton and it's Democrats, but hey, they're kind of center-right and pro-establishment, people are like, oh, overlook all of that. It's half women. Yay. So, and then the final thing about this first part here is she's admitting just how much she is pro-corporation and in favor of the rich. She's like, let me go to these mega corporations, Facebook and Apple, and ask these people to be in my administration. Okay, that's not okay. That's not okay. See, they are in the private sector and they have their own thing to do in the private sector. They shouldn't be in government. Government is about public service. Government is about policy substance. Government is a totally different skill set, and it's about being true to the American people and caring about democracy. That's not what these people do. But it's just like, again, this is a politically correct campaign like, oh, I just named some big names that are famous people from Facebook and Apple. The kids nowadays love the Facebook and love the Apple, right? Maybe they'll vote for me now. It's just so sad. It's all such a facade. Let's continue here. Miss Clinton would even schmooze differently than the past few presidents have. Picture a steady stream of senators, congressmen, and other leaders raising a glass and talking policy in the Oval Office with her and her likely chief of staff, John D. Podesta, as her husband pops in with a quick thought or a disarming compliment. Excuse me for just 1 second. What the fuck are you saying? What are you saying? And again, they make clear at different parts in the article. What she'd do is she'd invite the Republicans for a drink. They would have alcohol, an adult beverage. And then when they have it, they'll talk stuff. And Hillary Clinton will obviously get the Republicans to do whatever she wants. Except, no. Number one, Hillary already doesn't agree with the liberals and the progressives in her base, so I don't trust her judgment. She's already center-right and pro-corporate. Number two, what's overwhelmingly more likely, because we've seen it with Obama, is whenever Democrats compromise, negotiate with Republicans, you just give them what they want. So why would I want, a Democrat to give me Republican policies? The whole idea to have a Democrat in there is to try to get Democratic policies. But they cave on that immediately. But I will hold hands with them and we will sip an alcoholic beverage and then we'll get what we want. No, you kind of already agree with the Republicans. And wherever there's going to be movement, it's going to be you moving closer to them and giving them more of what they want because you do have common ground. Namely, corporations are awesome and let's sell out the people. So sad. So sad. Let's continue. Deeply confident that she would perform better as the president than as a political candidate, Miss Clinton wants to pursue a whole new approach to the White House to try to break through years of partisan gridlock. From policy goals and personnel to her instinct for patiently cultivating the enemy, Miss Clinton thinks she would be a better deal maker than President Obama if she finds willing partners on the other side. Okay, yet again, man, how many times in the primary season did she say to Bernie, one of the questions she was asked, I'm just remembering this now. She's like, who are your biggest enemies? And she went through a list. Iran. Ha ha. Yeah, cheer. Yeah, fuck Iran. And one of the things she says, Republicans. Oh, yeah. There's been the right-wing conspiracy against me from the beginning, and they hate me, and I'm ready to fight. This is what she said in the primary at certain times. Now in the general, I want to have a drink with them, and I'm confident I can make a better deal than Obama, and I can end this partisan gridlock. And see, the difference between me and the other Democrats is I'm willing to make a deal and sit down with the Republicans. That's the number one problem with all the other Democrats. This is an article written in fucking La La Land. More, some liberals think that Miss Clinton, as the Democratic leader, should keep her boot on its neck, I guess, the neck of the Republicans, rather than try to play nice and find compromises. Mr. Sanders remains worried that she would abandon progressive ideals to do business with Republicans and has yet to endorse her. Ms. Clinton has spoken intensely about progressive policies, but she has long wanted to erase the caricature of herself as a partisan warrior, a, quote, feminazi, as one 1990s phrase went. Oh my God, that's so sad. Oh my God, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. So do you get the gist of that paragraph? They're trying to have it both ways in the most obvious and sad way possible. They're saying, well, look, Bernie Sanders is skeptical. Idiot, why are you skeptical? Because Hillary's talking a lot about progressive stuff in the primary season, but at the same time, she wants to erase the caricature of her as a feminazi and somebody who's partisan and not willing to negotiate. Okay, wait, which is it? You can't say both those things. You don't get to say, well, she's said a lot about progressive ideals, so get off her. I mean, what do you mean? Bernie, why are you worried? She's talking about progressive things. You don't get to say that and then in the very next sentence go, but she really wants to get rid of this caricature of her as somebody who won't compromise and somebody who's a feminazi. By the way, who came up with feminazi? Rush Limbaugh. So in the same paragraph, they try to say, Bernie, shut the fuck up, hey, you crazy liberal. What we need to do is move towards, making Rush Limbaugh not fear us anymore. No, you should want Rush Limbaugh to fear you. You should want people on the right to call you unreasonable because they are unreasonable. So if you're reasonable in their eyes, that means you're doing what they want, which would be unreasonable shit. No, again, I can't. This article confirms every single fear that every single Bernie supporter ever had about Hillary Clinton. No, she's not going to continue to do progressive rhetoric. No, she's not going to go left and stay left in the in the general election. And by the way, what does this do? It proves Bernie Sanders right yet again. This is going to make it so that there's a better chance she loses to Donald Trump than she realizes. And this is one of the main things, my beef with Nate Silver, where I did a few segments going after him. He says she has about an 80%, 79% chance of winning. I mean, he can't factor in how they run their campaigns. And, he's been wrong on some big predictions before. He said Trump had no chance, despite what the polls say. Well, do you not get that, the American people, when you actually look at the polls and look at the policy substance, the American people are Bernie Sanders. Even some Republicans. You look at what they want, they're like, I hate government. But yeah, Medicaid is awesome. Medicare is awesome. Social Security is great. We need to tax the rich. So the American people are with Bernie Sanders on policy substance. Here you have Hillary Clinton promising, swearing up and down, pleading with everybody, please understand I'm going to run to the right. Does that make you like me more? No, it makes us like you less. And it exposes you for what the fuck we thought you were all along.